find the equation of the tangent line to the graph at x equals c. If you want to find the equation of a line, you need two things. The first thing is the slope of the line. The second thing is you need one point on the line. Let's say that's the coordinates x1, y1. If you know these two things, you know from the point slope form of the line that the equation of a line is going to be y minus y1 is m times x minus x1. And in these cases, you are going to try to find the slope and one point on the tangent line and use those and plug those values into this equation to find the equation of that line. The first one, f of x is x times tangent of x. Let's start by finding the point because it's easy to do. You know one point has the coordinate pi over 3. And you know when you plug it into f of x, what's f of pi over 3? Well, you get pi over 3 times tangent of pi over 3. And tangent of pi over 3 it's also known as square root of 3, which means you have pi times square root of 3 over 3 for your point. Pi times square root of 3 over 3. So we know the point. Now let's try to find the slope. Well, one way to find the slope of this line is to find the derivative of this equation and plug pi over 3 into x. So what's f prime of x? Derivative of x. Well, you use the product rule, so you get x times secant square root of x plus tangent of x. You have x multiplied by derivative of tangent, which is secant squared, plus derivative of x, which is 1 times tangent of x. Now, let's plug pi over 3 into this equation. F prime of pi over 3 gives you pi over 3 times secant squared of pi over 3 plus tangent of pi over 3. Let's evaluate this. Well, cosine of pi over 3 to begin with is 1/2. So secant of pi over 3 is going to be 2. So secant squared of pi over 3 is going to be 2 squared or 4. So you got 4 pi over 3 plus tangent of pi over 3, which we know is square root of 3. So we know that's going to be the slope at y equals pi over 3. So let's look at this graph. It's from Desmos.com. This red graph is the graph of y equals x times tangent of x. And you see this blue line is tangent to the graph at x equals pi over 3. And you want to find the equation of this line. And we can find the equation of this line because we know the slope and we know the point. Let's find it. You have y minus y1. y1 is going to be pi times square root of 3 over 3 is equal to slope, which is pretty long, 4 pi over 3 plus square root of 3 times x minus x1. What's x1? Pi over 3. So that's going to be equation of this blue line, pretty complex. Let's look at number 2. F of x is x plus 2 over x cubed minus 7 at x equals 1. Let's try to find the point first. X is 1. What's going to be the y? F of 1 is going to be 1 plus 2 over 1 cubed minus 7, also known as 3 over negative 6 or negative 1/2. So 1 negative 1/2 is on this line. And now let's differentiate this. F prime of x. Use the quotient rule. X cubed minus 7 times the derivative of x plus 2, which is going to be 1. So you got x cubed minus 7 minus x plus 2 times derivative of x cubed minus 7, which is 3x squared, over x cubed minus 7 squared. Now, you're trying to evaluate this at f prime at x equals 1. So f prime of 1 is going to be 1 cubed minus 7, negative 6, minus 3 times 3 over negative 6 squared or 36. That's going to give you negative 15 over 36, also known as negative 5 over 12. So that's going to be the slope. And this is also the graph from Desmos.com. The red one is the graph of x plus 2 over x cubed minus 7 is y. And this blue line you see is tangent to the graph at x equals 1. And we can now find the equation of this line. It's going to be y minus y1. What's y1? y1 is minus 1/2. So we can say y plus 1/2 is equal to the slope. The slope is going to be negative 5 over 12 times x minus x1, which in this case is 1. That's going to be the equation of the blue line.